What's up guys, Jack here. I'm back with another video and today it's going to be on the Microsoft Surface laptop. This is a new product from Microsoft and it runs a new version of Windows called Windows S. This is kind of an interesting product and I think it has some features that a lot of people will like and some features that others may not, so let's check it out. So the first question is, what is the Surface laptop? And I think the answer is that it's basically the new entry point into the Surface lineup. So from there you have the Pro, then you have the Book, and then you have the Studio, which are all Surface products aimed at maybe more professional users. I think this is kind of aimed at the casual computer user who basically is using their laptop to maybe browse the web, run some basic web applications. They've chose to make a new version of Windows for this called Windows S. To me right now, it seems like it's kind of a locked down version of Windows Home. So it has features comparable to what Windows Home is, except the main difference is you can only install apps from the Windows App Store. Quick little caveat to this. Everybody who buys the Surface laptop gets a free upgrade to Windows Pro, which will unlock the ability to install basically any apps until the end of the year. So before we get into the software and Windows S, I want to talk about the hardware for a second. So the computer is built to be really power efficient. It's very light. It only weighs about a pound and it really is noticeable. I like the fact that it's not a heavy computer and it comes in 4 colors so you can kind of pick out what you like. I went with the blue and I think it's pretty sharp. One of the big design things they did on this that's different than any other computer I've seen is the Alcantara top. So around the keyboard and the trackpad, basically the palm rests and surrounding the keyboard. I wasn't sure about it and I wasn't sure how it was going to be, but to tell you the truth, it's one of my favorite things about the laptop. It's super comfortable and it's a really nice change from kind of the traditional plastic or aluminum that's been on every laptop I've ever used. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to hold up over time. I do have some concerns about possibly, getting a stain on it or how the oil from your hands will wear on it over time. So stay tuned. I'll try to keep you updated over time as this kind of goes on to see how it hangs in there. But as of right now, it's pretty cool. I really like the keyboard a lot. It's backlit. The key travel's nice. There's nice separation between the keys. The only downside I've seen so far is there is quite a bit of flex on the middle part of the keyboard. The palm rest feels really solid, but it just feels like it's like kind of hollow and you can really get a lot of flex in the middle of the keyboard. The screen is fairly high resolution. It's 2256 by 1504. And it's a touchscreen. The only downside to the touchscreen is because it's a laptop and it doesn't have the stand like the Surface Pro, there's a lot of flex to it. So if you're looking to use the touchscreen heavily and use the Surface, the pen for it, I would recommend going with the Surface Pro versus this. But if you want primarily a laptop, then I think this is your choice. As far as ports on the computer, it's pretty sparse. There's a display port, a USB 3 port, and a headphone jack, and then the Surface power connector port on the other side. So it's not a huge port selection, but I think that reflects kind of the casual nature of the computer. If you're looking for a ton of ports and are going to be doing a lot of things with the computer, I think you're best off looking at a different device. But if you're looking for something simple and just kind of plug in a USB stick or an external drive and maybe connect to a monitor, which is exactly what they're thinking, then this has all the ports that basically you would need. The one thing I wanted to point out is I am really impressed that they went with the Surface power connector because they said they were going to be committed to it and they've really backed that up and followed through with it, that was going to be their standard charging for the Surface lineup, and I'm happy to see them stick with what they said. So now that I've taken you through kind of the basics of the hardware, let's talk about Windows S for a second. So the thing with Windows S is that it's connected only to the Windows App Store. And that is potentially a good and convenient feature, but I think it's a lot like the Mac App Store where they need to make sure that the developers support it and they make it a place where the developers want to put their apps. I think it's one of those things where it's hard because you kind of buy the computer basically betting on the fact that the App Store is going to work, because it's really, if you're using Windows S, the only way to get applications. The biggest downside for me right now, no Google Chrome. That's my go-to browser, and you really can't get it on Windows S. I mean, you can't get it on Windows S. If you wanted to stick with Windows S and really try to give it a shot and not just abandon it right away, you're really beholden to the App Store. And I don't know, I'm a little concerned about it. So I think we'll just have to see how it turns out. But as of right now, there are quite a few apps that I would like that I can't get on the computer. And that just is a kind of a weird feeling. And that's definitely the reason I'm going to go to Windows Pro. So overall, here's what I think of the laptop so far. Hardware-wise, I'm super impressed with it. They've kept it simple, but I actually really like that about it. It's not meant to be a complex power user's computer. As far as the software, I'm certainly not sold on Windows S right now, but I really didn't expect to be. It's one of those things where we're gonna have to wait and see how it develops over time. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. As always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.